America, known as the land of the free and home of the brave, known to have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But this wasn't the case in the 19th century. In this time was a civil war, a war between sections, or better yet, the Union, North, and the Confederacy, South. But after the Civil War had ended and the North won and reunited the country back together, items that were the smallest coin or the biggest title steamship in the Civil War era had gone missing. Some have been found, but their stories unknown. Hello, my name is Tessa Shepard, and today I'll be giving you 2 crash courses in 2 Civil War mysteries. That's right, 2. The mystery of the Lost Confederate Gold and the identity of the USS Keystone. Now we got all of that underway, let's get started! First, let's talk about the mystery of the Lost Confederate Gold, since it has a lot of backtracking and history. It all began near the end of the Civil War. This is when the Confederate General Robert E. Lee contacted the Confederate President Davis from his church with an urgent message to flee Richmond due to the Union frontal attacks and the predicament of their losses, especially after Sherman's march, a brutal march through Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, leaving those states defenseless, so they had to leave by train. Here I'll be doing a reenactment of the situation. I'll be doing it using my hands. The left hand will be the Confederate President Davis, and the right hand will be the Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Let's get started.
Dear God, help us bring back the war. We want slaves, and we need them to continue on. We won't do that with us losing, no siree, and... What's this all of the tomfoolery y'all brought here? This is God's holy place. President Davis, the Union Army is coming here, to Richmond. We must evacuate, especially at the hands of General William Sherman. He'll stop at nothing. What happened to Columbia, Charleston, Atlanta, Savannah, and Raleigh? Most of it destroyed, President Davis. We have to face our Confederacy is what? Extinguished, President Davis. We must leave immediately if you want to keep your life. Alright. We'll do it tomorrow. Leaving now would be too risky. 2 trains were taken away from Richmond at that time. One of them took the cash reserves, which included double eagle gold pieces, the silver coins, gold ingots, silver bricks, and the 39 Mexican silver kegs remaining from their trades in Mexico. The other train took Davis, his family, and other high Confederate officials. With this, there were rumors spread by Union soldiers that the Confederate leaders had literal millions on them. And that was the reason why they needed to escape Virginia. President Davis also made his final act as Commander-in-Chief and made Captain Micaiah Clark treasurer. Now, here's where the story separates. There are 4 people who had gold at this specific time. There are President Davis and his family, a Confederate Captain William Parker, and 2 Confederate Navy officials named James A. Semple and his assistant Edward Tidball. We will start with the Confederate Commander-in-Chief, President Jefferson Davis. President Davis arrived in Washington, Georgia in May of 1865. He arrived with about $148,000 of what he had. Most of the money was used in traveling issues, and $450,000 in needed bank funds to deposit, in which he was able to deposit soon enough. He, his wife Verena, and his children continued to head down south, and then they split the funds. On May 10th, Davis and his family were caught by Union cavalry, but there was only $120. This is where we get the mystery on the location of the gold. We get different locations and different amounts after this takes place. 1.
There are his ideas that were stolen by the cavalrymen on the way, or they ransacked it when they caught him. 2. He had hidden it somewhere that the accounts never covered. But number 2 seems to be the more logical of answers, as people found scattered bits of Mexican silver kegs. There is also a problem of the bank funds, though, as it was shaken by federal troops. Remember, President Davis had entered $450,000 into the bank on his journey to the South. Exactly 2 weeks later, a group of armed men stole most of it. What is it with 1860s and ransacking? Federalists were able to find $140,000 of that stolen money, but it was spent on helping Danburg, Georgia. That, my friends, is the end of Davis's journey. So now we will head on to the Confederate Navy Captain William H. Parker. William H. Parker was possibly given the entire trade, which again included double eagle gold coins and ingots, silver coins and bricks, and 39 Mexican silver kegs, in which he was assigned to send from the Treasury to Richmond. But we already know what happened to delay it. Parker then had decided to go to North Carolina to try and soar into the United States Mint Building. But due to Sherman's march towards North Carolina, he couldn't risk the burning of the building and abandoned the safe. He then entrusted the treasures onto several people until it reached the hands of General Basil Duke, in which he assigned the war veterans to protect 6 wagons full of the currency. They also got infiltrated by the Union Army, in which there was $101.15 in the currency and $26.25 from Parker's load. There was also a case of missing money going into a foreign bank, but never reached its location. I actually have a few ideas for what happened. 1, they were stolen again by the Union. 2, foreigners were able to take whatever money was there and steal it. And 3, it was dropped on the way in an accident. We are now, at the last, but somewhat well-known people about the mystery of the Confederate Gold. Confederate Navy officer James A. Semple and his assistant Edward Tidball. Okay, so since Semple and Tidball's story is somewhat wonky, I decided to do some more reenactments on this. I'll also be narrating this one this time to keep with the story. Are you ready? Confederate officers James A. Semple and Edward Tidball were given the remaining $86,000 in Confederate currency. Tidball was given a portion of that gold and was able to use it as a disbursement and had a pardon and was able to profit. Now, to still keep yourselves informed, this is still a mystery. That gold is still somewhere. The information going on that is mostly unknown, especially on Semple's side. It isn't until the mystery began in 1881, and the mystery came a very important book. This book is called The Rebel and the Rose, or its extended title, The Rebel and the Rose, James A. Semple, Julia Gardner Tyler, and the Lost Confederate Gold, by Gerald White and Wesley Millett. This book is published in 2007, in which tells more depth about the mystery and Semple's share of the money. But since this is a crash course, and we're not talking about all 328 pages, I'm going to give you the second reenactment of how Semple used the money to help create this mystery. Semple was given very poor instructions and was actually able to go missing with the Confederate gold. But love letters to Julia Gardner Tyler, the former First Lady of the 10th President John Tyler, were shown that he was trying to head to Nassau from the Georgia-Florida border and also trying to get Britain to go to war with the Union. But Semple spent it on Julia, his actual wife, and his secret activities. But soon he wasn't able to move because of his lack of funds and ended up in Danville. Semple's story and his predicament are better known due to the story. But he actually did contain most of the silver kegs as well, possibly leading us that they may be left in Danville, buried in a cemetery today. There is also Captain Macasia as well, who has actually succeeded in his escape, but we only know very little about it, and his trip to Florida and his amount, because there's only a little amount of money. There are still rumors about the gold, and how it will spread out. We know that leftover money can still be located in the final locations of the Confederate elites holding it. Semple in Danville, Davis near Georgia, and Macasia probably in Florida, but most of the money has been spent. These tabs on the Confederate gold can help us see the aftermath of the war for the elites. We already know what happened about the Reconstruction era, and the positives and the negatives that came from it. From this, we can get to see what happened to the currency and how it was valuable, especially the lives of the Confederate elites. We can also find out their location, because the Confederate paper money is useless. But if you tie the coins with the inflation and the cost of pure minerals of gold and silver, they can really be valuable. People still want to find it to this day. We now have to head underwater because another mystery shines brightly. The mystery of the old 1800s sidewheel steamship, the USS Keystone. The USS Keystone is a big, luxurious ship that was 288 feet long, making the USS Keystone the second largest ship of that time and one of the largest sidewheel steamships to disappear. Despite the popularity within its downfall, it actually first launched in 1849. Here are the basics of this mystery. The boat was traveling on November of 1861 from Detroit, Michigan to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was on a quick schedule and they left without lifeboats. Keep that tidbit of information in mind, folks. In which said it was delivering farm supplies. But there was a rumor going around at which it carried Civil War shipments. The captain, Wilkes Travers, was facing some disastrous storms. And due to the design of the ship, he decided to go forward. But then it became lost in the Great Lakes due to a powerful storm in November 8th of 1861. And nobody found out about this until a week later. There are no survivors from this disaster. Now, this has been found in Lake Huron, Michigan. It was found shortly about a month after its 152nd anniversary by a shipwreck hunter named David Trotter. But the true mystery of it is why it was sent out, and why the controversy between what it might have carried. Some people think it had gold there, and some other people thought the original cargo could be still inside. David Trotter actually does debunk some of these theories, and proclaims his own theory on how the USS Keystone sank into the depths of Lake Huron. Trotter did confirm that the steamship was 200 feet underwater. The boat was also 50 miles off of the thumb of Michigan, meaning it suffered from the storm damages. Somewhat well underway. Charter found no bodies, meaning that they were either lost at sea or degenerated. They also did find missing cargo, which had labored iron implements, meaning that they could have some farmer equipment, but Charter disproves it, but it doesn't confirm, because it would be inefficient to grow in the winter, and it is more proven to be Civil War shipments because they would misplace labels in the earlier Civil War days, hoping that it can get to the Wisconsin militia, in which your militia was still growing, and they can make use of those guns. David Trotter actually did have a theory for how the ship went down, and I'll tell it in reenactment form. As the ship moved north, the boat began to leak from the trouble in the storm. They would use the bilge pumps to activate the ship, but the water keeps extinguishing it. Then they would try to move the cargo load. But they would drown anyway and die of hypothermia. David Trotter made this theory because there are empty cargo holds, possibly putting more truthfulness into the prediction. Maybe they chucked it off to preserve the boat. Also due to the lack of lifeboats. David Trotter also debunked the conclusion for gold, for now, but there is still an expanse laying around it. But the ship has no gold. In conclusion, this is significant to the Civil War, with this being an extreme extra help, which could have helped the war after what the cargo was delivered, or if it actually had Civil War shipments. It was confirmed due to the lack of cargo. This was also one of the most biggest sizable steamships, and knowing that these ships are massive enough as an old cruise, but yet reserved for farm equipment, is interesting in its own right, and would have been beneficial to making the war swift and painful. So those were the mystery of the Confederate Gold and the mystery of the USS Keystone. These were some interesting stories in the finest, and they sure were something of a mystery to the Civil War, telling stories about different sides, post-war, and into the Civil War. This war hides some interesting mysteries, and I'm glad to give you the breakdown for two of them. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. See y'all later.